Welcome back to BLOCKTV, and you're watching Traders Take, where we get the chance to look at the cryptocurrency charts and evaluate where the market is. And to do that, we are joined via Zoom by BLOCKTV technical analyst Joe Sass. How are you, Joe?
Excellent, thanks. How are you?
Doing great as well. Now, over this past weekend, nice big drop. Everybody is confused. Where is Bitcoin at?
Yeah, okay, so let's go over this because I do feel that this is an important topic. Well, we definitely broke the channel. I mean, and we broke it to the downside. Now, the thing to me is we kind of sloped and fell off a cliff. This is very organic looking selling activity to me into an ultimate, dump, right? This isn't like a big bag holder that started a massive red candle up here, and then the rest of the people started selling the bottom.
Joe, I like how you went into organic at the beginning. You were like, let me just take this off the table.
Yeah. Well, this, just saying, this is a nice, this is a pretty organic looking drop. But this is the thing. I mean, this kind of action right here, this sloping downside break with, ending in like a big red candle, a little bit of a visitation to the wick space, and it closed below it. This is all kind of normal looking to me. And normal isn't what I'm used to. So for the past few months, we've been used to, some pretty abnormal activity. So it might, I might be shifting gears here and saying, all right, is this breakdown to a low of, 8,700 or so? Is that just the pullback from this, final 10.5 rush with the pullback into the, and settlement into the lower 9Ks? I mean, I know that I was saying that if we get a close below the 200-day moving average, that we would get this break. And yes, we've had this move to the downside, but it was very organic looking. And part of me is wondering, since this isn't orchestrated, how it was in the 10Ks, I saw a lot of that as orchestrated activity, inorganic. Big bag holders trying to dump their bags, and it was just every time it would be a slow, steady grind up, and then a gigantic red candle down, and then obviously you had and it would be a big volume candle to the downside, and then you'd have like a slow, steady grind or even a pump with no volume. And that was normal, right? For the past number of months, that was like a very inorganic feel and sense of the market, because obviously big bag holders were selling and they were, in charge of the market. Now we have a different situation where it doesn't feel like big bag holders were selling. This might just be a little bit of traders trading, small time stuff going on, and a little bit of technical activity. And if that's the case, then chances are I'm leaning bullish. And I'm still, like, my 4,500 is probably not going to happen anymore.
Wow. Okay. Wait. Let's break that down a little. That's a big claim, Joe. Because just a short while ago, right? You said I'm feeling bullish. You gave us a really beautiful explanation on how you see demand now within the space, and that just can't be due to tether pumping, right? This whole ideology, and you're sticking to that even with this drop. So can you kind of break that down? Like, you don't think it's going to reach 4,500 anymore, but you're still bullish even though there's a drop. It's a lot to unpack there.
Yeah. So it's pretty much just like what the quick summary there is, that this feels more normal. Like, this doesn't feel like big bag holders are trying to, get rid of thousands of Bitcoin anymore. This feels like a technical break of a channel, probably once we got below the 200-day moving average. In fact, let's take a look at that real quick. Let's look at the price and see what exactly the price was when we broke the 200-day moving average. And of course, okay, let me just see here. So the second that we got, a close into the area, the moving average was 9,100 before we broke down. And so, this had 9,100 around here, let's say. So I mean, we broke down into it. This was probably the previous. No, I mean, I'm not going to do all the, looking up here, but we did break down, and it did look pretty organic to me. This wasn't a single bag holder. Just usually the bag holders are the ones that precede the dumps, the continuation of them. So we broke that 200-day. We got exactly what I was looking for, a big move to the downside. This is only 5%, so I guess that's big these days, even though we had a 30% move in a 15-hour period. But yeah, the fact that we were supported by the 50-day moving average, just for the record, this is Bitcoin US dollar on the daily. And, so what has me shifting out of this, total bearish mentality? Well, pretty much this. If this wouldn't have happened and we would have gone sideways from here and down, we would probably be in the 6,000s by now. And so, but we got pumped out of this dangerously bearish territory, which obviously we had the same thing happen right back over here, 20% move plus with wick space, and it completely pulled us out of a very bearish area and set us up for a really nasty run. Now we didn't really even get a pullback on this one. This thing just took off, and we all know what I think about that. But I do think that this could have been some sort of tether exodus combined with organic market activity, FOMO buying, of course, a number of factors. And I'm really starting to think that this pullback is now normal. Like, and when I say normal, I mean actual normal. Normal to us, to traders was abnormal. A lot of psych outs, a lot of interesting psychology in the market. But now it's just being regular. We broke down from this channel. We broke through the 200-day moving average. We haven't accelerated that activity. So I'm now inclined to think that we might be in kind of normal market operations. And if that's the case, then it's probably bull market intact. Plus, we're closing on the halvening. And, if that 30% move would have happened to the downside, I would have been happy. My price target probably would have been hit in the 30 to 40% area. And then we would have been, launching, hopefully we would have been launching into a bull market pre-halvening, and that would have been an ideal setup. But, that's the confusion to me, is why I'm in this like kind of neutral space and I haven't really been doing too much as a trader, is because I really want to get that feel. We got the play that I wanted, and that's cool and all, but I still want some confirmation. I want to see if this is going to be a continuation of a bearish trend, then I need to see us break down to 8,300 pretty quick, within maybe, I guess the thing that we need more than anything, that would be more of a want. If my bearish picture was to remain intact, I would say what we need to do is not bounce right back into that channel today or tomorrow. If we can hold these areas and then it convinces me at some point that we're going to break to 8,300, then I'll be a little more okay with that. But either way, I think that the bull market structure is forming. A lot of people would say that it's been forming since April 2nd. But I'm kind of looking at the market into different chapters, and right now I think that we've ended a bull cycle with a breakdown. We got pumped out of a bear cycle, and that could easily start us up into another serious uptrend.
Okay, so I mean, it really is a lot to look at and to look for, but I'm happy that at the end of the day, the analysis was that this is organic and this is normal. Again, what is normal within the crypto market? We're trying to figure it out. That's what we spoke about, I believe, last week on changing the metrics in which we look at these charts especially. But I mean, a lot of things within the crypto market are different. And do we change how we look at it, or do we stay with the same ideologies and thought processes and try to make it fit? Perhaps that's not the right way. But thank you, Joe, for looking into that. Now, I would like to move on to the alt market here. Usually when Bitcoin goes down, so does the rest of the market. That doesn't seem to be happening here. It seems that alts are thriving a bit more. So let's look at Ethereum and kind of see what's going on there.
Okay. And I'd like to compliment that excellent summary. Yeah, this is a different space, and I don't know what skills from other spaces translate to crypto. But just a quick look here as on our way to Ethereum. Yep, Bitcoin dominance at 68%. We've seen a rise now in Litecoin dominance, BNB, XRP, and Orange, and Ethereum isn't here. So let's get to Ethereum. ETHUSD. I'm gonna stick to ETHUSD. Gonna hit Coinbase. They have some good history. Excuse me. All right. I wouldn't say thriving. All right. So we did have a little bit of a weaker breakdown. I wouldn't say alts are thriving. Let's see. This was October, so I was in beautiful Bali at this time. Grinding. We pumped out of it 13%. This is probably the same day that Bitcoin did its crazy move. I still, basically what I see for us is Bitcoin was in a channel, right? And the channel was actually down here more, closer to the Bitcoin's equivalent was like 9,000. So for here, I'm just seeing another channel basically. And the only difference is this one hasn't broken down. But then again, this has done a lot more breaking down than Bitcoin. Bitcoin wasn't fighting with the 200 MA. or altcoins, Bitcoin was fighting with the 200 MA. Altcoins have, as you can see, really just been annihilated underneath it. So I think that we're channeling here. Bitcoin did break down. This looks like it broke down around the high end of the channel. So I think the market's just in an uncertainty phase, and that's pretty consistent with my thoughts on who's in the space. You know, why is the activity such that it's, you know, feels like it's more organic, only traders trading and probably small fish, you know, medium to small fish. Um, so yeah, I think we're just channeling right now, and this is kind of indicative to me of an uncertain market, and I think that we're going to, I think that we might have corrected from that pump, and I think that we could kick off. Ethereum's channeling, and the same thing that I was saying about Bitcoin is that, you know, I'm not really certain of anything until we break that channel. I would say the same translates over to Ethereum. We're just going sideways. We're bouncing off the bottom and top of this sideways channel. And as long as that's happening, you know, I'm not really thinking that Ethereum's preceding the market or anything. I don't see any pattern like that. I don't see anything particularly dangerous, particularly bullish. I just think that whatever way we break is going to be pretty important. But again, Bitcoin it does lead the charge. Does, you know, it does tend to be the, you know, catalyst for the wider market space. And I'm a little curious. You know, I think. I don't know if Ethereum's going to break to the bottom end through the bottom end of that channel. I just don't see it yet. So I'm pretty neutral. You know, it's like weird. I don't like being neutral. I think I told you once that I'm like cursed with never looking at a space as a no trade zone. But I honestly think this is like my first real experience of shifting like completely in mentality from very bearish, you know, because I firmly believed the market was manipulated and that it would have to crash, to maybe that doesn't matter. Maybe all that matters is, you know, demand, whether it's organic or inorganic. And if that's the case, then
Yeah.
then, you know, there's
No,
some changes.
absolutely. I see that mentality because it's, especially with Ethereum, because Ethereum is a platform, right? And I don't think anybody thinks that the platform is going to die. And then that puts, I think, most people in a weird, in a sticky situation, let's call it, when it comes to Ether, because you want to like it because people utilize the platform, but then you're confused because the metrics don't say what you want them to say. So it's a very ambiguous time. We feel for you, Joe. Now moving on to Bitcoin Cash, has been doing well consistently for a little while now. So I'm curious to see what the charts have to say.
Oh yeah, let's check that out. If they've been doing well, like I'm very curious. Let's go US dollar. I think we've been hitting the US dollar chart, right? And we've probably been sticking with Coinbase. Okay, so we did fight and struggle and ultimately get a close above the 128. I think last time we spoke, we were in this space fighting it. We did close above it, and this close, even it was like an inch above it, and we got a nice little 5%, 4% move. Immediate rejection, and this is the exact thing that I'm talking about with Bitcoin, in terms of returning to the channel. This immediate rejection is pretty important. We didn't have that, and I usually give it 3 to 5 days for an immediate correction, like or an immediate reversal of the activity that happened. So we went into a negative 9% couple of days. Now we're fighting with the 128 again. I would say, man, you know, you're hearing this a lot from me, but this is kind of neutral. The fact that we're fighting this again, I could easily lean bullish and say, look, we've not only broken it, we've knocked it in the head a couple times. We've also, you know, we've also closed above it. But bam, there we are, rejected, right? And then now we're fighting it again. I'm really curious. I'm not really seeing a head and shoulders or anything like that. I think that this is a really interesting battleground for this asset.
I'm actually curious if your neutrality comes from the fact that Bitcoin is down while the alt market is doing well. Do you think that that has anything to do with it, or your neutrality is 100% set in technical metrics?
In this case, it's technical. I mean, there's I would say like the psychological element of my neutrality has to be the result of that massive pump. Before then, I felt like I had a good grip of the market, right? And then this massive move happens from 7.3 to 10.5, obviously in Bitcoin. But this was something big, right? And so this is enough to change the market. We've seen it happen before. So why won't it happen again, right? And that's what's changing my entire outlook is psychologically, what drove demand enough to cause a 30 to 40% pump in price over a 15-hour period of time. Obviously, I think there are some nefarious things going on, and obviously, I think that there are other things, organic, natural things going on as well. So the neutrality on a technical level, back to the chart, is only because I can't say that I'm bullish or bearish right now. Because we did break and close above this moving average, and we will get more bullish if we can close above this and start building support along the way. But we just pumped through this so hard, and we blew through the 50, fought the 125, broke through it and won, and then immediately rejected. So it's kind of like, here's a 75% bullish situation that pulls us right back into a 50-50. So that on the technical level, fighting with a descending 125, which is the intermediate term moving average, means that we could, it just means that I'm very neutral. The fact that we just broke it and rejected immediately, this is the kind of stuff that I like to see when I think someone's controlling the price and trying to sell their bags. So that's what makes me feel a little more neutral about this, that we are struggling here. We did have a big pump, and it did launch us right through this 21% move, launched us right through the 50-day moving average. But the neutrality on a technical level is just because we fought this moving average, and just when you thought that we were winning, we immediately pulled back well below our initial price there of $293. We broke all the way down to $269. And now we're fighting to regain strength. This is a grind, and I don't really like to see bulls grinding. I like to see the irrational activity on the upside if I'm going to really start getting bullish. So right now, the irrational activity or rational activity is on the downside, and that's what I'm waiting for to see. How are we going to react as bulls in the Bitcoin Cash community? What are they going to do with this? Are they going to continue to buy? Is the wider market space buying? Is there organic activity in terms of accumulation outside of our isolated crypto Twitter argument, battle space? That's kind of what I'm wondering. And I don't really, I think that it's possible we could break to the upside. Let's give it another 3 days. We'll see in a couple days how we've tested that 125, and if we manage to close above it.
Well, thank you, Joe, for breaking those down for us. You heard it, folks. It's one of those days where you just got to wait it out a couple of days to see what ends up happening, which is frustrating, but that's what we got from our Joe Sass today. So for all you folks watching at BLOCKTV.com, keep on watching for more cryptocurrency and blockchain related news.
For more news and updates, follow us on Twitter